What is going on, everybody? My name is Brett. It is time for another Pop Culture Crisis movie review that is not a movie review this time. It is a television series review that is for episodes 1 and 2 of The Acolyte, written and directed by Leslie Headland. Of course, this is a Star Wars property, and I'm here to discuss this with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. And this is coming at the request of the audience, actually, after an extremely corrupt election.
No,
went
it was
down
not.
On the live show. And I will not accept the results of that election. I believe that this was by popular demand. So here we are. And also, The Acolyte is currently sitting at 32% score on Rotten Tomatoes from the audience.
We got into a whole argument yesterday about the concept of review bombing because it was really funny because I pointed out that the score was sitting at 48% before the show even came out. And all I asked was, how does that happen? I was like, are there staggered releases? Did it come out in other markets? And that's the score that I'm looking at. Of course, it didn't matter because whether it was or not, as soon as the show did premiere, it dropped. It did not go up. So it's awful. It's awful.
Yeah,
So,
they don't deserve to be given a chance
the benefit
anymore.
of the doubt.
But
Yeah,
we watched just in case it might be good. It wasn't.
So it stars Amanda Stenberg, Daphne Keane, Jodie Turner-Smith, amongst others. Obviously, a bigger character in the first 2 episodes. It was weird. I'm not a Star Wars person, never have been. So I wrote a longer tweet last night talking about this show, and I said, look, I'm not going to critique the story nor the lore because it's not my place to do that. There's lots of content creators who are very, very enamored with Star Wars that talk a lot about it that would be able to do that better than me. Certainly people pointing out that fire in space is not a real thing.
You don't need to know Star Wars lore to know that you can't start a fire in space.
But I will critique the performances, and one of the biggest things that this show has going against it is every actor looks like they've never acted a day in their life. If you watch this channel on a regular basis, you know that I'm not one prone to hyperbole in this regard, and that I tend to give actors the benefit of the doubt. But other than a couple of characters, most of them looked as if they were doing their first line reading of each take, and that was all they got, and then they had to move on to the next shot.
It's obviously partly garbage writing. So if the dialogue is already crap, they can't do much with it. But when she did that line in the prison cell where she turns to the other inmates and goes, "Don't you realize that could get us killed?"
Yes.
That was shockingly bad.
Her and the guy who plays Yord they're really bad.
Yeah.
They're really, really bad. Like my point, what I said was, guys, we'll get into the story a little bit. We will, but every actor, because they're younger, most of the actors are younger, they deliver the lines as if they know what Star Wars is, and they're attempting to give some type of gravitas to something that they know already exists. Meaning, when they mention something like Padawan or Jedi, they've got however many years of being alive of baggage, knowing what that is to our culture, not the culture of the world they're trying to inhabit. And everything else just feels like, Daphne Keane, who did a fantastic job in Logan, obviously with next to no language, no words at all. It's like every take was the first take they gave her, and then they moved on to the next shot. There's no actual feel that these people have lived in the world. So the main character of Osha, she plays Amanda Stenberg plays both Osha and May, twins. You get a fair amount of discussion about what those characters' backstories are. You know, what they've gone through in their short time being alive, and you feel none of that in any of the dialogue.
I mean, yeah, they're really trying to make you care about their trauma and stuff, and
but they don't deliver lines as if they've lived a life.
I mean, it's you're right about the gravitas, but this is supposed to be a murder mystery in the Star Wars universe. But there's no
heads up on what episodes 1 and 2 are. So in episode 1, a Jedi is killed by Osha. Again, we'll put spoiler alerts on here, though I don't think that really matters. And like you said, they're out to figure out what happened to this Jedi, obviously played by Carrie-Anne Moss, which is an enormous bait and switch because she's in the show for all of 8 seconds and then she's gone.
Well, yeah, in that scene, they were trying to make the combat reminiscent of The Matrix, and I found that really corny.
Yes.
And then she was gone. But, you see who the killer is in the first scene, and this is a murder mystery where you already know the answer to the mystery the entire time, and we're only 2 episodes in. And then episode 2 attempts to leave off on a cliffhanger, but it's like, I don't want to see more because you already solved the mystery.
Yes.
There's no suspense. It's not really drawing you in to want to watch the next episode. And, aside from all that, first off, there are 0 white men in this show who are not
19
criminals,
minutes, 19
basically.
minutes into the show before we see it. Somebody pointed that. Somebody pointed that out, and it's a
timestamp aside.
All
white men in this show are criminals,
or bad, or doofuses. Yes,
or basically both. Yes, stupid criminals and backstabbers, and. I almost think there was some kind of explicit directive in casting. That's why I mention it, because it's definitely on purpose.
Look, there's
everyone, if you're white, you have to be a woman, or you have to be in some kind of bizarre alien costume that is nothing like any of the creatures that were in the original Star Wars movies.
What people don't realize is extremely large amounts of thought go into casting. So these things don't happen by... Nobody woke up one day and said, oh, nobody who looks this way has not appeared for 19 minutes. That's, at least in this respect, in this universe, that's the way that would be, because so much work goes into that. That's the way it is. It is going to stick out to the people who have already kind of lost their interest in Star Wars and who have started to notice these things. Certainly those who've been paying attention to the interviews with Leslie Headland and Amanda Stenberg will know that this is an agenda on behalf of Star Wars. The idea of the Force as female is something that's been going on for a very long time, and it emanates from the material. And here's the thing. If the dialogue was better, if the story was more engaging, people would be a lot more forgiving of that, but you're going to have a lot harder time doing that when there's fire and space in the first 5 minutes and people are already critiquing your adaptation of the lore.
Yeah, not lore stuff, but just basic continuity errors that make no sense. Like, there's the fire in space, yeah, but also they do this flashback to the younger May and the younger Osha, and they're supposed to be identical twins played by the same adult actress, but there are 2 different child actresses playing the identical twins, which makes 0 sense.
I know that you said you had a problem with Master Soul, his delivery, because you thought the actor is Lee Jung Jae, and he's the only performance to me. A lot of people were critiquing his language because it's not he literally learned English to play this role.
This is his first English-speaking role.
A lot of people were critiquing his language. He's the only actor that seemed like he was playing a character that had actually lived a life.
It might just be because he's older and more experienced at acting.
No, that's 100% what it is.
I did notice, as they said in the Rolling Stone review, that the language barrier does kind of stunt his delivery.
It didn't do that. I was looking for that because I read that review beforehand, and it didn't do that to me.
I thought that, without reading it beforehand. So
maybe I was just so starved for something that seemed, good, that it worked for me the whole time. But whenever you go back to Osha or May, it looks like a millennial woman who's lived in the United States her whole life and hasn't struggled in the way that someone like Osha or May are supposed to have struggled in their life. And the same goes for Daphne Keene's character. The same goes for all of them. They all feel like they're reading lines off of a cue card. It doesn't feel like I'm actually watching people who have lived in this world. When they say Jedi, I feel like they're going, tee-hee, I just said this line from this famous franchise. Because
they're so excited about the clout. But it also just overall doesn't feel like it's Star Wars. I mean, people have been saying this as all of these new projects come out. It doesn't actually feel like it's in the universe of Star Wars at all. And one of the reasons for that is because of all this hand-to-hand combat. And I know they're trying to go for that vibe in this one, but there was none of that in the original movies. And another take I saw before I watched it was that this show is trying to portray the Jedi as the privileged oppressors in this Marxist, I guess, like, oppressor and victim outlook on this universe. I tried to see if that was reflected in the show. I understand they're kind of hinting at that, but overall, I didn't see it as this, like, Marxist plot.
No,
but
it's just boring,
I think
dude.
the prequel series already showed audiences the way that the Jedi had missteps and the way that they got too prideful and overlooked their own mistakes. So why would you need to keep harping on that in all of these projects, which this takes place before the original trilogy?
It's just boring. It's
boring.
And here's the other thing. What I would have done with May is keep the mask up to differentiate her from Osha in a very specific way, because Amanda Stenberg is a beautiful woman, but she's got a baby face and she doesn't look like she's lived a life, right? These characters are supposed to look like they've lived these very, very difficult existences with lots of training and lots of work and lots of struggle. And I get none of that from any of these performances.
Should she have been an older actress?
Yes, I do. I think that same with Charlie Barnett, who plays Yord. Like, the first thing I thought of, I go, oh, great, it's Star Wars Divergent.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. Like Star Wars Divergent with young actors. Like,
they're YA-ing Star Wars.
And maybe it's because when Star Wars came out, a 30-year-old looked different than a 30-year-old looks today.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
Like a 30-year-old today is not the same thing. I believe Amanda Stenberg is in like her mid-20s or late 20s or something like that. But the point is I've heard other reviewers talk about it, not specifically with this show or movie, but that it's harder to cast people in the, like, somebody's talking about like Red Dead Redemption. It would be hard to cast people to do things like that, or even think about a show like Deadwood. It would be very hard to cast the younger actors to do that now because they all look sheltered, like they haven't lived much of a life at all. And I know that I keep harping on that, but you need to buy into an actor's portrayal first and foremost, or everything else around it falls apart. And the cinematography on this is very, very bland and matted, and it doesn't bring to life. Like, all it looks like to me is expensive sets. It doesn't look like anything that's an actual world that's been lived. It all looks like expensive sets to me.
Sure. And by the way, much like Furiosa, May is basically on a revenge like streak where she's trying to get revenge for the death of her.
Well, this ain't as good as
family.
Furiosa, that is for sure.
And it, worse portrayal of a revenge plot than Furiosa, actually, by far. But I do understand why Osha is supposed to kind of still look young and have that baby face, because Master Soul has this paternalistic feeling toward her.
That's what I mean by May should have kept the mask up, because at least it gives her a more menacing look on the outset.
But again, it doesn't make sense why Master Soul isn't even the slightest bit suspicious of her. Like, maybe they don't restrain her, but he's not the slightest bit suspicious that he's in cahoots with her sister, or this is just a convenient... I mean, and also the fact that he didn't feel it was relevant to mention that she is a twin when they started investigating the murder. Like, there are just so many obvious things that they looked past, or I guess that Leslie Headland looked past while writing this. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of like the plot was an afterthought.
Yes. And guys, this will be released weekly all the way up through episode 8. This is one of the most, this is an extremely expensive TV show. It cost $180 million to produce 8 episodes, all of which are under an hour. I will give them that. The episodes are shorter, which I prefer.
But then, like, make 10, make 12, not 8.
So, We'll have to wait and see where it goes. We'll wait how this review does. We'll see how this review does. Perhaps we'll continue to review it, but I feel bad for the truly big Star Wars fans out there who all look. I've got a couple of friends who they're not people in the culture war. They're not people who care about that type of things, and they did reviews for this, and they're like, it's not great, which for them means it's bad because they tend to like whatever is coming out from things like Disney and Star Wars. So if they can't even get behind it, then I think a lot of other people are going to struggle too as well. We'll have to wait and see. But
we know who the killer is. We're gonna see how.
I guess there'll be a twist.
They can, if there's
maybe
a twist.
Osha was the bad guy the whole time.
We can anticipate that, but they're gonna stretch this out for 6 more episodes, even though we already solved the murder mystery. So,
guys, leave a comment down below, and I'm sure plenty of you will. If there's one franchise that tends to bring out people with strong opinions, it's Star Wars. Leave a comment down below. What did you think of episodes 1 and 2 of The Acolyte? Are you going to continue to watch it, or have you just given up on Disney like so many other people have, guys? If this review does well, we'll be back with episode 3 review coming soon.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.